Welcome, beautiful goddesses, to Teach, Travel, Talk. I am Megan, and my mission, goal, and vision is to help guide you through the crazy journey of life and of being a human and having this human experience. Because until we realize that we are the creators of our reality, we can either make life very difficult for ourselves, or we can make our world incredible. But it's all about how we perceive our world and the world around us. So this is for you. Yes, you, the one listening, so that I can uplift and empower you to look within yourself and find that inner light, love, guidance, and intuition that will lead you to unbecome who the world told you to be and bring you back to who you were meant to be and who you were supposed to become in this life. So let's dive deep into conversations that will bring you teachable moments to implement throughout your daily life and to help reprogram the way we think. Hello, my beautiful goddesses, queens, and unicorns, and welcome to Teach, Travel, Talk, or welcome back, my beautiful tribe, for another amazing podcast. Like I said last week, today we have an amazing guest. Her name is Lori Bisser. Lori Bisser is a passionate yoga teacher and a mind-body life coach. She is undoubtedly Ron Swanson's worst nightmare. While she teaches mindfulness to children and adults, she remains human and has not yet become woke, considering herself quite fidgety, contemplative. Her podcast, Gratitude Sandwich, combines stories from regular people about how gratitude surprised them in their lives. Lori's signature process for improving sleep and moving people into the direction of their dreams is changing lives. She loves love, which flows out to her family, helping people transform their lives, travel, cooking, eating, laughing, painting, and of course we can't forget her dogs. And not necessarily in that order. I had a pleasure and I'm so grateful that she came on this podcast. I will also be on her podcast as well, and when that's uploaded, I will definitely link it in the show notes below. You are in for such an amazing treat today. Not only do we get to hear Lori's story of how she became Lori and how she transformed herself into this spiritual journey that she has been on, and learning how to reinvent herself and loving every version that she has been going through, and learning how to love others in every version of themselves. And I can't wait. I think there's so many teachable moments that you are going to find in this amazing conversation and connection that I got to have with such an inspirational goddess. And I'm so happy I got the chance to have her on here and for her to speak to you. Her words are inspirational and I loved listening to them, and I think you will too. So enough of that. Let's get right into it and let's begin. Well, thank you, Lori, for joining me today. I'm really excited to hear your story, and I appreciate you being here, and I've loved hearing, your podcast, and I can't wait to jump on over to yours. But today is all about Lori, so I really want to hear how you discovered yourself and how you started this journey of becoming Lori.
Interesting. Hi, Megan. Thank you so much for having me. And I would say that, becoming Lori is a thing that's still going on, and I'm 52 years old, right? So, and that's the coolest thing about the universe and our whole experience here is that like, I'll think stuff is starting to get like sort of stale, and then like this new amazing thing will pop up. But we're going to roll all the way back to when I'm in second grade. So everybody who's listening to this podcast right now, if you're, have a short attention span, feel free to pause and come back. But so when I was in second grade, I feel like this is a really defining moment. Everybody died. Like everybody died. Like I was the youngest in my family on both sides of the family, large family in my hometown of Quincy, Illinois. And like I had to marry a boy from out of town because I was related to pretty much everybody.
Wow.
Anyway, we in second grade, I had a lot of family around. And so whenever I would come home from school, walk home from school, I would, if I saw my uncle's car in the driveway, I knew something was wrong, terribly, terribly wrong, because he came over, but not ever on the weekdays. And so it started to become this sinking pit in my stomach as a second grade person, little tiny person, figuring out the world at large, who was, I got to tell you, the youngest, likely the cutest of all 70 bajillion grandchildren on both sides, right? And so I was spoiled rotten. My mom's mom would let me climb up on the kitchen table and eat out of the sugar bowl, which was unheard of for all other people on the planet.
Oh, wow.
So spoiled rotten. And so everybody was dying. So my dad's mom passed away, and then my mom's dad passed away, and then a great aunt passed away who was actually pretty close to everybody. And so this was like repeated. And then that grandma with the sugar bowl passed away, and I, it was just a lot. So, in our family, it was, like you went to everything. You went to even as a little kid, you went to the wake. I think some people call it the viewing, which always makes me think they're going to see a movie. But but you went to the night before, you went to the funeral, to the whole thing. You saw people in caskets, everything was open casket. It was just really super challenging. And I remember processing all of these deaths with my dog, Fred. He was the coolest dog. He was a little mutt, and he would just hold space for me. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but if you have a pet, and you're close with them, they do this crazy thing where they like come to you when you're hurting, and they just hold that space. They're just with you.
Yeah. No judgment, no anything.
Yes. Maybe a little lick here, a little lick on my hand here, or a little whimper. He would like to have a little whine. So if I got into wailing, but being the youngest, I was alone a lot too, because everybody was out doing all their stuff. And so I had plenty of time to process all these deaths. And I just came through tears and this sweet pup that held space for me to a deeper relationship with God, and to rely on God in a way, or the universe, or Jesus, or whatever you want to call it. So for me, it was just this still small voice that was, not only was my dog holding space for me, but there was something bigger. And so as I moved through life, wow, there's all kinds of stuff in the middle. We'll jump way forward because, I'm just a regular person. We didn't, so, I guess I married a boy I stalked for a good while.
At least it worked.
Yeah, hashtag winning. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good thing. But after we were married, we definitely planned to have a big, beautiful wedding. Now, we dated for 7.5 years before we got married. And so we were youngsters when we started that. And then we definitely planned for a big, beautiful wedding, but we didn't plan for a marriage. It was really sort of dumb. So we drifted apart really quickly. It wasn't even a drift. It was like a shoomp. Because he was working nights, I was working days. We were in a new town, and we had all these other things going on, and we lost touch with each other. And so, I think the first year of being married is really, really hard, and you're inventing yourself as this person that's part of something else. So anyway, we were basically on the verge of hating each other, and it was really painful. It was super painful, and we, didn't even like each other. And so one day he just randomly came home and said that he wanted to convert to my religion, which I was raised Catholic. And it was something that I thought, wow, where'd that come from out of the blue? And so out of all this pain and yuck and knowing each other so well and for so long, 7.5 years of dating. And then, it was to have everything fall apart. We were kind of grasping at straws, and he decided that this was something he really wanted to do. I'm like, well, okay. And he asked me if I would be a sponsor. So we went through that process, and we put that together. We put ourselves back together because we had some commonality and some space set apart. Now there's a whole lot easier way to do that than hating each other first. But I learned the hard way, how to get where we were coming. And in that case too, again, obviously God was right in the center of all of that, because we built our relationship back together around it. And then many, many moons into the relationship. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Was he feeling that like that was a way to get connected with you again? Or was this something that he was contemplating for a long time?
It was really him. It was like this sort of a bonus. You ever get those where you're like, hey, it's both things? I feel like the universe doesn't waste anything. There's nothing wasted. And so it's like, usually there's a lot of great reasons for stuff, but yeah, he had been contemplating it for a while. He saw my passion for my spirituality, and he, I really feel like it's a God thing that pushed him in that direction, because it was multi-purposed, right? So it gave him direction because he was sort of lost in himself. It gave us direction because it drew us back together in the learning. And so it was pretty great. And it was also, it gave us a date night. I mean, even, I know that sounds like not a very interesting date night, but it was this time set apart to do this stuff. And it was in a big group. So if, in the very beginning, if we didn't really want to like be really up close and personal with each other, there was a lot of other people and things going on. So I just think God's brilliant. So
Agreed.
Yeah. So then many, many moons later, after a couple kids, two boys had arrived on the scene. My husband was traveling Monday through Friday constantly. And you'd think we would have learned from that first time. So we're about, I would call it the 7-year itch. We're about 7.5 years or so in, and didn't even know who each other were. So I'm raising these two kids. He's gone all week, and he comes home, and all he does is cut the grass. And let me say this, he's like the best guy ever. But all he does is, he goes and plays golf or cuts grass or whatever. And I don't even really want him to interfere. Kind of want to smack them, because I'm like, no, you don't tell them what to do. They don't even do it your way. That doesn't make sense. No, that's not how we do things here. I mean, I was kind of a jerk. And I'm sure I didn't help the situation at all, but we went way apart, way apart. Really, if we didn't like each other in that first year, boy, we couldn't stand each other now. And because I think, obviously there was some resentment of being a single parent, and then having to put up with his whatever when he came home. So needless to say,
I will say, isn't it funny how the universe keeps testing you with the same things over and over again?
Oh. Get it right, girl.
Right?
Get it again.
Did you learn that time? Nope. Here it is again.
Yeah, for real. So, incredibly long story short, he was on a business trip. Well, actually, he had told me they didn't think he ever loved me. After all these years, it was horrible. It was the worst thing ever. And I was broken and ruined. And because even inside of the hating him, I really didn't think that's the direction we were going to go. Yeah. And so he left the next day for a business trip again. And I scooped up my boys and I went out to my friend's house in the Northeast. And she just, because I was like, I got to get out of here. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. And she just took care of us and loved on us. And I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, I was like, what do we need to do? We need to try. And he's like, yeah, well, and it was sort of weird, but I just kept praying, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, like the fervent prayer of a person who like has no choices, has no, nothing. And it was, I was just praying and like ridiculous amounts of prayer. Like it was, yeah. So all of a sudden, on about the second or so day that I was there, I said to him on a phone call, I was like, what if I just come out there? And he was in Phoenix and I was in Baltimore. And he's like, you would do that? I'm like, well, yeah. I think all the years we have into this and these little people we have are worth giving it a go. So anyway, I don't know why, but that stirred something in him that I would do anything hard. I don't even know. Or maybe we just needed the alone time. I still don't know about all that. But
Yeah.
I asked my girlfriend to hang out with the boys and if they could stay there. And I bought an incredibly expensive plane ticket and left, I think the very, very next morning. And, it's this weird, weird moment where you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to be received. And it was electric. It was electric. He took my hand, which blew my mind. It was like we were dating again. It was like makeup sex, except for just a handheld. It was like electric. It was like, what? And we just spent the next couple of days reconnecting yes.
Can I say, isn't it crazy how just going back to the basics, right? Of like how you got in love, what you guys were doing with each other, and we tend to forget all that. Like sometimes we have to go back and hold hands or do those little things for each other.
Yeah, well, so if you even think about the first story, we had this time set apart, right? Time was set apart for us when he was becoming a Catholic, and now his time was totally set apart. I mean, there was no distractions, and so we had already lived in the Phoenix area once before, so we knew stuff to do there, and we went to Flagstaff and we did some stuff, and it was just unitive. It was like, as much as we had pushed apart, we pulled together, and we just basically decided that we were going to try, not just talk about it, because we'd talked about it obviously before this, but not very much. And so it was pretty magical. And this is what I tell any of my clients who are struggling in relationships. If everybody's willing to try, there's a chance. There's, the writing's on the wall when people aren't willing to try. And so I do think that I was the only one trying for a second to convince him. And so I don't think that's terrible either. You just kind of keep listening to your own intuition until you come to that place where there's an opening, or you understand that the door is opening the opposite direction. You need to go at it. Right. So anyway, we rebuilt our relationship, and I have what I believe is a second husband. I mean, it's the same guy, but he's a whole different guy, and I'm a whole different person. And inside of all these little sufferings, right, that come through, God's right in the middle of it, and this transformation happens. So during that time is when I became a yoga teacher, because I was looking for something to manage the anxiety of what the heck's going on here.
And not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah. And I was really worried about during the hating part, I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was really worried about how yoga lined up with my religion. And so I have never been a person who's going to tell you how to believe or anything, but I have this mama and this papa, mom and dad, who are people who are Catholic. And I am all about God is love, and happen to love the ritual of the Catholic Church. I've looked some other places, obviously, throughout all the years. But anyway, so I was a little concerned about how my parents, what they would think about this. And I was quite a bit younger then. So I still cared about what people thought. Once you hit 50, you don't care anymore. So anyway, I asked my mom, and she said, well, Lori. Now, why she calls me Lori, I don't know, because my name is Lori, but she's always said, Lori, if it makes you happy, you should do that. Well, okay, Mama. So I started yoga teacher training, and that was really also took me deeper into my spirituality on this wonderful universal level. And so again, that was born out of this stress and anxiety and pain. It moved me into becoming a yoga teacher, my 200-hour, then my 500-hour yoga teacher training, and lots of other little ones along the way. I was obsessed with learning, like you, reinvented myself many, many times in between. I've got about I don't know, 10 other jobs stuck in those other stories.
Mhm.
But that was just feeding my soul, because I was able to be connected into this force of, oneness with God that was present with me and my dog when I was grieving, that was present with me as I was, wondering what the heck was happening in that first year of marriage, when I wondered what the heck was happening in the 7.5-ish mark. And as we were putting everything back together. And so for me, it's all about really getting to this space where we can listen to the pain, be inside the pain, and find the transformation. And so then this is why I became a life coach, because as I went through years and years of teaching, and I started to hold retreats, yoga retreats. And I realized I had all these friends who were life coaches randomly, super random. They were like friends on Facebook because of other yoga friends, just really this random line. And I was fascinated with how they lived life, because what I learned and gained and what I became more of myself as I became a yoga teacher, I saw them being who they were right out loud all the time without any apologies. And it was magic. And so I went to Martha Beck life coach training, and subsequently lots of other trainings. And I feel like, and so much MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and I teach yoga, I lead yoga nidra and restorative yoga. So the thing is that everything just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because there's so many ways to connect mind, body, and spirit. And so when we do that, I feel like we become sort of this conduit where we become more of ourselves, because we're not only connected into just our selfness, but also, I feel like the divine, right? So God, and connected into God. And that's how we can connect into being with others, because when I'm most authentically me and you're most authentically you, like, wow, that's like magic, sparkly, awesome times, right? So that's what I do with my life coaching clients, is I help them to move from these places where they're stuck and move into the places where they find these electrical, sparkly, movements out in directions in their life that allow them to be exactly who they are, and born of that same eternal stardust that you and I are.
Oh, I bet you are an amazing life coach. Even just talking to you, you have this amazing, beautiful presence about you. It's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
It's actually like making me cry a little bit. Like, you are awesome.
love that. Well, so this is why I love doing this kind of thing with people who are like-minded, because I feel like, I have the chills all over me just from the sharing. And I feel like you are a person who is introducing into the world a space for people to understand what's possible.
Yes.
Right? Inside of these stories, because like, I'm just a regular person from on the Mississippi River in Illinois, and I feel now like, no, I'm not on an album cover, but I feel like a rock star in my life, because it's like I get to help people every day transform their life from places of grief, despair, stuckness, relationship issues, just being a stressed out mom, career changes. So it's beautiful, because I can get into the places where there's pain, and then we connect into who we are in the divine, and then everything starts to happen.
Right. I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Oh my, I love your story, and I love that. It's so funny though, because when we jump over to yours, mine a little similar, especially our beginning. That's how my beginning started, and that's my grateful thing that I will talk to you about.
So Megan is going to be on my podcast next. So if you're listening, you can pop over there and you can hear another story from this little duo.
Right? I'm so glad we connected. I think this was amazing. I have one last question for you. Is there a motto or a mantra that you go by right now in your life?
It's been for a really long time. So love is a verb, simply put. When I work with couples or with individuals or in relationship, there's this thing about people think they fall in love and it's this big tickle pit and they lived happily ever after. Nope. And it's the same thing with ourselves. So if you even think about like all my stories, I had to love myself enough to let myself grieve. I had to love myself enough to work hard on a relationship that I wanted to keep once, twice. And I had to love myself enough to move in the direction of my dreams more than once, lots of times. Right. And so it's a doing. And so it's a state of being, but there's also this verb. So I can say, I love you, but I can also spend time with you. Like, I feel like right now I'm loving you. This is love, right?
This is.
Yeah. And so we connect in, we connect out. And so love is a verb. And inside of those relationships, if you're not doing the love, and I mean sex, and I also mean all the other things, just the not giving them the side eye,
right.
Going towards some of the issues rather than, just deciding the other person is, wrong or not okay or not acceptable or stupid, right? Because that's really easy to do when we're in close relationships. You can close down and be like, nope, I'm over this. And then you go the other way. But until you can love yourself enough, love them enough to leave, that's a possibility. Love yourself enough, love them enough to stay. All of those things are founded in that love is a verb. So God's back in the middle because God is love. So I'm Godding you right now.
Hey. It's funny. I sometimes had a problem with that word specifically.
God.
Obviously from childhood. Yes.
Okay.
But I've now reconnected with that word and I've shifted it and made it comfortable for me. Because it was very uncomfortable for a long time. But then, because I use universe, the source, anything. But it is what we make it, right? So I stopped defining it as how maybe the rest of the world defined it and say, I'm going to make my own definition to what God is. Because I don't think God is this white male person.
Nope.
I don't think so at all.
Nope on a rope. And I do think that that's so brilliant because there's this thing that I feel like it with your knower. You know it with your heart. It's not tangible. We can't say, well, this is what God is. Because if we say that, we're wrong. Right? Except when it comes to love, because I think that's the closest we can get. But so much more, right? So much more. Yeah.
Right. And you just got to tap into it.
Yeah.
Hard because, like you said, you have to love yourself first before you can externalize it at all. You have to love yourself.
Which is a lot of
yeah. And a lot of people have a problem with that because they're just constantly like giving love. And it's like, where's yours?
Well, and we see those people because they're walking around like zombies after a while, exhausted because they have nothing to pull from, no resource. If you don't, love one another as I have loved you. I'm going to quote God. I wish I had some other quotes sitting right here, but there's so many good quotes around love that tie us into the truth of if we don't get this right first, the self-love first, we're going to do a crap job loving anybody else.
And I feel like that's why me and you both got into yoga, because I feel that helps me love myself deeply and helps me like learn my body, like what it's capable of, what I'm not capable of doing, and centering myself and be like, all right, let's talk to myself, like, and focusing on breathing, something that is so automatic to us, but most of us don't do it properly, which is crazy.
Yeah. It's so funny. And I think the coolest thing about yoga is this connection, right? So we're more than just these thoughts. We're more than just these worries. We're more than just our job. We're more than just, whatever sport you play, whatever, we're mind, body, and spirit. And inside that, there's a brain that isn't the mind. It's a whole separate thing, right? And it's another intangible. We can't touch the mind. It's out here. It's this compilation of everything. And we're, in yoga, there's just so many beautiful ways to go with the practice in meditation, in breath, in, the mindfulness end of meditation, and in the asanas, which people think of yoga as, poses and, stretching. Oh, maybe some of us think of just yoga pants, because some of us, they're our savior because they're so dang comfortable. And to men, they're super happy about seeing them, right? Or women, whoever loves them. But the point is there's just so, yoga's got all these like ideas, and that we're like total flakes, right? Maybe that's the thought too, right? So, and that goes back to that love, right? We got to get up close and personal with all the things. And I'll tell you one last little story that just blew my mind. I haven't told, I'm writing a blog about this because my mind is blown. I'm 52 years old. And I've been practicing yoga for a good long time. Been a teacher for, I guess, 12 years now. And during COVID, I was teaching a lot less. I was teaching online. I didn't have as many private clients, all those things. We ate a lot of food. We cooked a lot of food. So we had this new practice where all my kids are cooking, right? So when kids cook, they make fried everything, right? It's we ate a lot, and like I no longer fit into my clothes. And so I was like, whoop. And we were putting in a workout room in the basement. My daughter wanted a treadmill. That's the only thing she wanted. Everybody got to pick one thing they were put in a treadmill, and she never used it. And I'm like, well, nobody's using that thing. I'll walk because it's crappy outside. At least get a walk in. And so here's the thing. I love my body. That's I run a challenge twice a year called Love Your Body Challenge. I love my body no matter what size it is. And it doesn't really matter. I just didn't really want to go buy a bunch of new clothes.
Right.
Maybe I was being cheap. But I was like, and we haven't done very much, and we slept in all the time. It felt kind of good because I was always like at 5:30 a.m. up and doing the yoga, doing all the things because I'm a morning person. But we're like, hey, what's rest like? We really got deep in rest. And I think that was beautiful and wonderful. But got on this treadmill and I started walking and just walking. That was good. It was good. And I didn't really hate it because I was actually able to read a book while I was reading a book. I was listening to podcasts. And what's interesting about reading a book on a treadmill is that you often have to read parts over and over and over in order to get them.
Yeah, because you're like, yeah.
I'm like absorbing more than usual too. So anyway, and then one day I just didn't even think, and I started running. Turned up the thing and started running. I've always, my whole life, been a person who thinks people who run are nuts. Like, I'm like, what is wrong with those people? I mean, insane. Like because I'm, as a yoga teacher, you have people come to your classes who can't walk anymore. And they're like, oh, I have an injury from running. I have to come here. I'm like, okay, good. Come on. And so I've worked on for all these years how to help them. And I have to tell the truth. I've always been a bit of a bitch, a little bit of a scoffer. I'm like, oh, runners. I have to tell you how much I love. So what was super weird was that, oh, I can do this. But what's interesting is, as I feel like I've found this new magic badassery, it's like, I didn't think I could do it. When I did, in retrospect, I look back, I thought, not only did I not want to, but I didn't think I actually could. And so I'm realizing now I'm not running any marathons. I'm running like 2 miles, and that's just walking in the middle. But I'm telling you, we were in Huntsville not too long ago on the way to spring break, and I got up. The treadmills were all broken at the hotel, and I've only been doing this for about a month-ish. Okay. And I was like, it was a beautiful day. I'm like, screw it. And I ran out the door, which doing it publicly. I mean, the fact that I'm telling you, this is like news. Doing it publicly, it was the most amazing thing. I came back into the hotel room, and my husband was looking at me sideways. He was like, oh my gosh, you ran outside? I'm like, yeah. And I couldn't stop laughing. I was like laughing. I was like, this was so great. It was so awesome. He's like, Lori, this is a runner's high. And I'm like, what?
Oh, this is what they felt.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I was like, what? So anyway, there you go.
That is so crazy you told me that story, because we have like a little forest in Tacoma, and I walk it all the time. I love going in the trails, but something within me the last like few weeks is just like, maybe you should start running. like maybe just start like jogging and stuff. So that idea has been in my head for a few weeks now, because I was also you. I'm like, you will never see me running. Even if there are cops, guess what? You can have me. It ain't happening. I'm not running. I don't care. A lion can be behind me, whatever. It can get me. So, but it's our way of thinking, right? So forever I've been thinking like, oh, I'm not capable. I can't do this. But I'm thinking, no, I really think I am capable. I've just been stopping myself. And I don't have, again, like you, I don't need to run a marathon, but I think it would be good for my body to move a little more.
Well, what's mind blowing is like, just like you, it was just this little thought, oh, well, and I started doing it and it was like, huh. And then I liked it and loved it and love it. So what I think is super neat about being 52 years old and just deciding you're going to start running is that I also have gotten out my hula hoop. And I'm hula hooping. And so I think I'm going to get those weighted ones like fancy hula hoopers have, because like you see them in the parks doing the hooping stuff. And don't ever tell anybody this, but I actually did Zumba last week.
I love Zumba.
That was just like running to me. I'm like, I'm not coordinated enough to do that. And
I love dancing. So Zumba is right on my alley.
I love dancing, but I'm like, Elaine from Seinfeld, like, always freeform. All my Southern friends, when we lived in the South, they all did the line dancing and stuff. They look so cool. I can't do any of that stuff. So I was like, I can't do this. So I've started, in my defense, Zumba in my basement where nobody can see, when no one's around, in my workout room. I put on, this guy cracks me up. There's so much good energy in it. So why I'm saying all this, why I even think this is necessary is, there's growth that comes from these painful moments that help you become who you are. And then it's almost like this water wheel and stuff starts happening. And you're like, holy mackerel, I'm going to do all the things because I can. Oh, look, that's there to do. I can stop stopping myself from running, from Zumba, from all the stuff that I love. And I just do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's hard because for everyone listening, do your own thing. Find what like you love. I feel that a lot of people, what they tend to do is like, they'll hear this and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do that. It's not for everyone. You have to find what you're passionate about, what you love, what your body also loves to do, and it's same for hobbies and all of that stuff. What someone might love, you might not like to do. So find you, do you.
Yeah. And so, in my Love Your Body Challenge, one of the days is all about movement. And that's how I coach people, is to really choose something they love. And that's what reminded me of hula hooping. When I first ran it, was like, oh my gosh, when I was a kid, I would hula hoop and I would always win all the contests because I never dropped. I just go to town because it's not that hard. That's why I want to get the weighted ones and make it a little harder. Right.
Have you ever done the really big ones?
No, that scares me. That one scares me. That's probably why I should really do it. I mean, how does it even work? I don't even know.
Oh, it's hard. It's difficult because they're also quite heavy as well. So it's like, not only are they huge, but they're weighted and you're like, but it does a lot more for your core as well. Right? Because you're doing a lot of that core, but you have that heavy weighted thing. Yeah, my grandma used to have one. That was fun.
Wow. Your grandma.
But I will say, I'm proud of you for starting running. You have inspired me to start on my running journey. So
I'm still proud of me. I mean, because as I keep pinching myself, I'm like, I really like this. Actually, today I actually ran to teach my yoga class and ran home.
Ooh.
I know, it was awesome. And then I kicked their butts in the yoga class because I had all this energy. I was like, woo.
You know what's one thing I've taken from your whole entire story is that we are constantly changing and evolving, right? And you have to love every version of yourself, no matter what it is. And some things you may not have liked, you may like it now. Or things you may have done back then, you might want to do them now. So it's constantly reinventing ourselves.
Oh my gosh, I have a whole package where I do that with people. Because of, like you've had tons of jobs, right? I've had tons of jobs because I love learning like you. I love learning. I love doing something new, and then I conquer it. Or I feel like I've attained it. I've gotten there. I'm like, oh, it's time for something new, And so there you go. I hear you. I agree.
I love it. I've loved this conversation. I appreciate you telling me your story.
You are awesome.
Thank you. So are you. Well, is there any way that people can find you? I'll also put it in the show notes, but if you want to.
Absolutely. So my name is Lori Bisser. That's LORIBISSER. And my website is Lori Bisser at that's me.com. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. If you want to go there, you can download a free yoga nidra meditation that will help you sleep better tonight.
Yes, I need to go and download that because I don't really normally have a problem sleeping, and I usually do like some calming meditation music to go to bed. But last night, so I think I'm going to download that tonight, and I'm going to do that.
Enjoy. And so also I have my podcast. We'll put a link in for that. It's called Gratitude Sandwich, because you're going to want to come in here when we talk about Megan's story of gratitude over there. And I also have a YouTube channel where you can find yoga videos and meditations to enjoy.
You are inspiring me so much.
Yay.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you, Lori, for joining us.
Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Oh, thank you. All right. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that.
I hope you took away some amazing teachable moments from this podcast and reflect back on maybe what makes you the most authentic you, and going back to that every day and learning to reinvent ourselves and love every version of us on this planet, no matter where we are, in whatever space we are in. Just be you, be authentically you, be that goddess, that queen, that unicorn, bring it out, let her shine, let her be seen, let her be heard, and express yourself in such a gratitude way. And I am so thankful that I got this amazing opportunity to speak with Lori, and I can't wait for many more chats to come, because this is all what this Teach, Travel, Talk tribe is about. It's teaching one another how to travel through this human experience by talking about our stories, by talking about those deep conversations that we tend to not want to share with the world, but they need to be heard. They matter. No matter how bad or good something is, it still matters, and they happen for reasons, and we have to speak them out and transmute them into something different. So until next time, my beautiful goddesses, queens, and unicorns, have a magical rest of your month of April, and have incredible magical moments in every single thing that you do. Find the joy within and stay mindful, my beautiful, lovely goddesses. Until next Tuesday, namaste.
For all of you that keep listening, I do sell hair care products and face products. It is a great company. It's called Monet. I absolutely love working with them. They have incredible products that are vegan friendly. They have no harsh chemicals, and my hair absolutely loves it. And I'm a stickler for advocating for products that don't use harsh chemicals, that only use plant-based derived ingredients, which this company does, which obviously my hair agrees with it, because I've never seen my hair grow so much and just look amazing, healthy, which I dye my hair so much. So my hair does not like me all the time. And they taught me how to actually wash my hair, which is crazy. I always thought I knew how to wash my hair, but apparently I didn't. So I'll just share that really quick because I thought it was amazing. So with this product, you only need about a quarter size of product, and with the shampoo, you wash your hair twice. So because they don't have sulfates, it's not as sudsy as normal shampoo. So the first wash is to really get that excess oil and, you know, harsh things from the outside environment to get off of your hair. And then that second wash is actually to get those nutrients from that shampoo into your hair, because obviously we've had all these blockages from, our environment, from dirt, from all that stuff. Especially, I don't wash my hair every single day, so it builds up, which is amazing. And for the shampoo, same thing, just a quarter size. You leave it in. I'm really bad about leaving my conditioner in, I'm not gonna lie. But for here, I always use a a conditioning mask after, and I let that sit in my hair for like 10 minutes or so whenever I remember to rinse it out. And it just leaves my hair so hydrated and so amazing. My hair has gotten so much more curlier, and again, it has grown so much, which is amazing. I absolutely love it. And I love smelling my hair. It smells delicious. I just washed my hair, which is amazing. So if you would definitely love to buy any products, I will link my website down below. You can please take the beauty test. There is a quiz on there that will give you the right products. If you're still not sure, my email is on there. Please reach out to me, and I would love to talk to you more about the products and what product would be best fit for you, and talk about more of their VIP, maybe some promotions that are going on. Or if you want to be a market partner, if you want to come on board and also sell these lovely beauty products, that would be amazing. So I hope you can join me, maybe be a part of my team, or just enjoy these amazing products that are not only healthy for your body, but healthy for the environment. So, again, I hope you have enjoyed, and I can't wait to talk to you next week. So, have a lovely day, night, evening, whatever it is.